Hello, I'm in the game. Hello, I'm in the game. Hello, I'm in the video with my daddy.
All right, everybody. So this week we have Kenny Conklin from Hobby Link International, and he has a side business that goes along with the hobby, and he does a bunch of stuff. And we're going to find out all about Kenny here in the next couple weeks. But if you're not, and we'll have him plug all his stuff too. But if you haven't watched any international, and I have a cold, so it's going to be hard to talk today. But we'll have him plug all his stuff, and we'll get going here. Here's Kenny.
What's going on, Josh? Good to see you, my friend.
What's going on, man?
Absolutely nothing but hanging out with you today.
First of all, plug all the stuff that you're kind of doing at the moment.
Okay, so we do a bunch of stuff. We have our Hobby Link International main site, which basically has builds. We try to put reviews up there, step-by-step stuff. We hold all our group builds on there. All the rules are there. So when somebody builds a group build, all their pictures go up there so they're kept forever and people can go check them out. We have our Hobby Link International community, which is a forum because I try to get people off of social media as much as I can, just back to a dedicated forum. So we have that. And we also have the Hobby Link International shop. We sell our own products. We have boards for lighting planes, starships, all sorts of stuff. But unfortunately, right now with the chip shortage, we're out of stock. We should be getting some more in soon. We also sell, what else we got? Green strawberry, military stuff, boats, you name it. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the shop. And then, of course, we're all over social media, from Pinterest to Facebook to YouTube. We got everything going on, my friend.
No, I mean that's really cool. The big part about it is, how did you get started in the hobby?
Well, like most people, I started because my dad built models. So he used to build 1/72nd scale armor and little 1/72nd scale men. So I picked it up from him, but Grandma really kept me into the hobby, because when we were little kids, we grew up in New York City, and she'd always go to Chinatown, and she'd pick up the Star Trek kits, the old dinosaur kits, like the La Brea tar pits, the saber-toothed tiger, all that good stuff. And on the weekends, we would sit there with Grandma and build models. So from there, I just kept the hobby. And like other people, you lose it after a while and you come back. But that's how I started in the hobby.
No, I mean that's cool. So where'd the hobby go from there? Because you've been doing it a long time, right?
Yeah, I've been building since I'm a kid. And then it's an interesting story how we came across with Hobby Link International. There used to be a group of us at Fine Scale Modeler, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was pretty much a mass exodus of us. And at that time, a new magazine came out, Modeler X, and that was by my friend Jeff Hearn and a couple other people. I think Rinaldi was involved with that, and they started a new form. So we went over to that form, and then that form died because the magazine unfortunately went under because of finances and stuff like that. But that was out of the control of the guys that were editing it. So I was like, you know what? We're going to start our own community. And that was about, I'd say, 2008. We started our own community. And we didn't start off as Hobby Link International. We started off called Models and Scale, which went pretty well. It wasn't too big, too small. But then we decided we wanted to incorporate all hobbies, like RC. There was no 3D printing back then, but RC, trains, model building, all that good stuff into one. So we kind of stole a little bit from Hobby Link Japan. We went Hobby Link International, and there's a bunch of us Hobby Links out there. And then, not unfortunately, but what we did was with Hobby Link International, for some reason, I all of a sudden got a big sci-fi following. So we started Sci-Fi Annecy for sci-fi guys and Model Builder International. And it kind of separated Hobby Link International, which was good and bad, because you had your armor guys and your military guys and your car guys, and then you had your sci-fi guys. And then it came to, we decided, you know what, we're putting it all back together. Why are we going to have everybody in little cliques? So we put it all back together. We became Hobby Link International again. We never got rid of any of the names. We still have Model Builder International and Sci-Fi Fantasy. And we want everybody to check out everybody's build, because maybe you'll see a NASCAR and you'll get all excited about that. And be like, you know what? I've never built a NASCAR, so let me try that. Just like I'm going to be doing for Jeff's NASCAR group build, my first ever NASCAR.
So I want you to talk about the group builds for a second, because you have some unique group builds. What's the one? There's like a helicopter one, right?
We got a ton of group builds. What we do is, we had a lot this year, but what I do on the live streams, my live streams on YouTube, is I try to ask the guys what they want to do, and we kind of have a vote. But yearly we have a Halloween group build, and that goes over well. This year we had the most ever. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we got a Halloween group build dedicated to every year. And the Star Wars group build is the same thing. So we have the Star Wars group build every year. And then we started, we have the TV and movies group build, a figures and bus group build, a Battlestar Galactica one going on, the Armor of World War II, a helicopter group build, and it's a couple more. But we decided to get rid of some of those. Oh, a Star Trek group build. Unfortunately, Star Trek didn't do too well, which I thought it would have, but unfortunately not. So we created a whole bunch of new group builds, but kind of minimized it to 7 and made them more incorporative of other genres. Like this year, we're starting the sci-fi for 2023. Sci-Fi Fantasy group build. This way, for those guys that build Star Trek or Aliens or Warhammer, they can all get into that one group build. And what we do with the group builds, just because we know everybody's got a life and, you know, health things come up, money things come up, vacations, you name it, our group builds always go for a full year to give you the maximum amount of time to build from. So 2023, most of them will start January 1st, end around December 30th, except for Halloween and Star Wars. Halloween always starts November 1st, the day after Halloween, and Star Wars always starts May the 5th, because we have the May the 4th live show.
No, I mean, and you get the kind of the who's who of the modeling community in some of those group builds too.
Yeah, we get a good group of guys in the group builds. We have our regular guys in there, like that clown in here, Jeff, and Mad Genius Productions, those guys. But yeah, Boyd from Trekworks has been in it a few times. Interstellar Modeler Augie is in there. I'm trying to think. Oh, Pablo Sarra's in there. If you guys don't know him, he builds incredible scratch built things. So yeah, we get a bunch of guys in there, plus our regular who's who from the Hobby Link International community.
No, I mean yeah, like, because you've had like Gilbert Mondragon win one of the figure things.
Oh, that's
yeah, like that side of it is like a completely different animal for you.
That is the Model of the Year contest, which we don't run anymore because unfortunately one year somebody decided they were going to cheat, and I caught them cheating, and it just ruined the whole contest. And then I brought it back, the contest, the year after that, and it just didn't do as well. But yeah, Gil Mondragon, he won. We used to give away this big crystal trophy. So Simon Merckx won the first year. Mark Dunmore, if you don't know him, he builds a lot of anime characters and Gundam and stuff like that. He won the second year. And then Gil won the last one. And that was the very last one we did. But what we changed up a little bit this year, like for the Halloween build, I asked the guys, of course, do you want to have like awards and stuff for the group build? Just to make it fun, not competition or anything. Because if you don't want to be in on the trophy part, you don't have to be. But we gave away, I 3D printed up, I'll show you it a little later. We 3D printed up trophies and gave those away. And we're going to do the same thing in January. So anybody that's in a group build, I'm searching for something like a globe or something like that to 3D print and put on top of the base to give away as just, a thank you. And there's no judges. Where I got away from judges. What I do is I put all the group build entries on the form, and the community members get to pick who their favorite build is. So it's basically a community choice award, and they can't cheat on it because you can only vote once, and that's it. As soon as you vote once, you're locked out.
No, that's awesome. It's like the group builds that, and I keep trying to do one, but sometimes it's hard to hunker down and finish a kit in a year.
Absolutely.
But so I want to kind of jump in to the product line that you have, because I want to talk about the Voyager kit, right? That's the main board that you have, right?
We have multiple boards. We haven't made a Voyager board yet. We got an airplane board. Our very first board actually sells pretty much the best. Everything else sells out, but that one sells real quick. It's just a basic little board that had two functions. It had a strobe and navigation lights, and that's it. And what we do with the boards is we try to keep the prices down as low as possible, because unfortunately in the hobby business, soon as you slap that word, it's for model building or the hobby, the price jacks right up. And everybody that's involved with the Hobby Lincoln International business, me, Spencer Wolf is in here. He designs the boards, tests the boards, put the programs on there. My brother Tommy builds the boards. So they're all built by hand. And Paul Tosney, who's up in Canada. So we really are, we're all over the place. But those guys are involved in it. And they made this little board that just had two functions on it, and it took off. And then we went over to a Batwing, the Batwing board, the airplane board. Spence came up with the Ralph board. That's reactors, aliens. He's going to kill me. I know fire. Come on, Spence, tell us what it is. I know Spence is in the chat. So it's got 4 different functions on there. Like, I'm going to be using that board. I have a witch diorama that I 3D printed up that I'm going to do. And I'm going to use the fire portion of it for underneath the cauldron, so it'll light up with fire. I'm trying to think. I would have to go over to the site because I'm getting old and losing my memory. But we got about 5 or 6 boards. Like I said, unfortunately, right now they're all sold out. But we will have some soon because Tommy sent boards. He's sending boards Monday over to Spence to test and program, make sure they're all good. Once they are, they'll come back to me and they'll go up on the site for sale. So yeah, no Schumann. I'm laughing at Schumann in the chat. No Voyager board yet. No, we have, we got a Yamato board, reactors, aliens, lights, and fire. Thank you very much, Spence. We have a Yamato board with the wave cannon on it and stuff like that. So we're going to be developing more and more boards. Oh, the big one that we just put out and that sold out like that was the Grissom board. So Polar Lights came out with a Grissom. We made the Grissom board. We were smart. We knew the Grissom was coming out, so we did our research on the Grissom. The lights are actually timed, and don't let me do math because if they would have went by my timing, the light would have been solid. Thank God Spence and Paul know how to do math. But we came out with the Grissom board beforehand. This way we knew we had a product that would go along with the new release. And Boyd from TrekWorks and Augie from Interstellar Modeler both used it in their videos, in their builds. So if you want to check out that board in a build, you can go check those guys out. But yeah, the board portion is a lot of fun. And like I said, we're trying to keep it as cost effective for the customer as we can, but yet still make a profit so we can pay the guys and also get new equipment to make more boards.
So here's my question. You get the board.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you get, right? So are you going to do you have to solder the wires onto the board, or is it one of those that you just kind of plug in the wire, or?
It's not plug and play yet. We are going to eventually go to plug and play to make it easier for the builder to put their lights on there and get them into their ship. But right now it's the board with the little components on there, and it's all through hole. So you will have to have a little bit of knowledge how to solder them. Spence makes awesome instructions on how to solder everything. Well, not how to solder it, but where all the wires go on there. And if you ever have any problems, like, unfortunately, I feel bad for Spence sometimes because he gets pounded with questions. But Spence and Tommy are always there. And if somebody asks me a question, I revert back to those guys because I'm the sales guy. I'm the pitch guy, and they're the brains of the business.
hey, sometimes it pays to have smart people around you.
Oh, I got a couple smart ones. I got 3 smart ones around. I'm the dummy.
Well, that's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
So, how long have you been on YouTube? Because it seems like YouTube for you has been a while, right? It's been 10
Yeah.
years?
I've been around YouTube for 10 years. I actually started 10 years ago. I put up a video, took it down. I didn't like it. And then 9 years ago, I think actually this March may be the 10th year that I've been live on you, that I've been doing videos and stuff. So it'll be 11 years, signed up on YouTube, and a full 10 years of doing videos. Yeah, I've been on here almost a decade doing this.
So how do you like YouTube for the modeling community?
I love YouTube for the modeling community because you get to see a lot of great builds. I met a ton of great people through YouTube. I actually met more modelers, I think, through YouTube than I did through Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. The only problem that I have with YouTube is how they send out your videos. It's a silly algorithm where I have 4,400 subs and they'll only send out 100 notifications. And if those people watch it, then they'll start spreading it out more and more and more. But if those people don't, then the algorithm says, well, nobody likes this video. And that's that. But the one thing I do like that YouTube has done, I guess it started about 2 or 3 years ago, was YouTube Shorts. That actually helps out a lot. If you're not into YouTube Shorts, I'd get onto YouTube Shorts and just do quick stuff. Some of them fly really well and you get subs and you get views and all that other stuff. Some of them tank, and that all again depends on the algorithm. So we're at the mercy of the algorithm. But for modeling wise, it's amazing. I've learned a lot of things from a lot of people, met a lot of cool people. A lot of the people that are on the forum or come to the live shows are all people I've met here and learned something from, and a lot of them I've become good friends with.
No, I mean that's really cool because it seems like probably what the last 5 or 6 you've had the biggest growth, right? And that's when
Yeah.
the business kind of came into it, right?
Now the business is only going to be 2 years old. I'm trying to think. The biggest growth was actually the biggest growth started when I started doing not my build videos. It started coming when I did tutorial videos of how to. Like my biggest video on the channel that has I think 90 something thousand views on it was the one how to strip chrome with super clean. For some reason that one kicked off. The using pledge for canopies. So videos like that for me, and I'm an idiot because I should just keep doing videos like that. But videos like that for me, teaching people things, actually do a lot better than my builds. I mean, some of the builds, like when I was doing that god awful Enterprise in 1/357 scale with all the tiles on it, and unfortunately I am going to do it again because it's for my brother. That did very well. I guess it all depends on the subject that you're doing. Like I'm not a car guy. I was building the 32 Ford, did pretty decently. I was doing the 51 Chevy Fleetline, which most videos did okay, a couple hundred views, which is fine by me. But the one where I did a full length video on how to rust it, again, I was teaching something. I went totally into the aspects of how to do it. That one's at almost 4,000 views. So if I was smart, I would just do teaching videos instead of doing full build series videos. But I like to build, so I have to have a mixture of both of them.
No, I mean that's really cool. And my next question for you is, what are you using to stream live on?
I use Streamlabs. I was using regular OBS first, and then I moved over to Streamlabs, but it seems like Streamlabs is having problems again. So I may revert back to OBS. OBS is actually a very, very good platform to do your live streams off of onto YouTube. Plenty of new features and stuff like that. So yeah, I end up using OBS to do all my back end stuff, so I can, do the live feed onto Wednesday nights, and Saturday nights is when I stream.
And how user friendly is OBS now? Because it's a pain in the butt for the iMac.
I'm on a Alienware PC, so it's very easy to use on a PC. I'm not a Mac or an Apple guy. I never what my brother is dying to get me over to the iPhone. I just refuse. I'm a total Android Samsung guy and a PC guy. But if you're on a PC, OBS is fairly easy to use. It's not too bad. When you get into Streamlabs, and the Streamlabs actually stole pretty much OBS and made it their own Streamlabs OBS. It's similar, but for some reason it's a little more difficult. So if I was starting out live streaming, I would go to OBS. One, it's free. You don't have to pay for anything on there. And it's fairly straightforward and simple to do everything you have to do on OBS. And if you run into any problems, there's a million videos on YouTube on all the new features, how to set things up, how to set your scenes up, how to switch scenes, how to do transitions, everything on there. So OBS is definitely, for me, a quality program to use for your live streams.
No, because it seems like your show has a really good technical aspect to it when it comes to that. I know some episodes don't quite go well with the internet, right? But
yeah, some of those episodes don't go well because of user error. like the last like the last stream where I had double microphone going, which wasn't a good thing. The thing with me with my live streams aren't about me. I can make them all about me. I do talk about myself. Kelly comes on, which is cool. I bring the puppies on when they want to come in here or when they were smaller. But I try to make my live streams entertaining. If you saw any of my Halloween live streams, Kelly and Kenny did a whole backdrop of Halloween stuff back here. And that I do for the guys. I want to make it fun for them. I want to make it entertaining. We don't always do model stuff on there, which is cool because we end up talking about movies or goofing around about stuff. My shows are more about getting the community together, letting everybody have a night to hang out, chill out, or 2 nights a week to chill out, and forget about everything that's out there in the world. And a lot of times the guys like to grab screen captures of me. And if you go on the community, there's a ton of memes about me from the live streams. But yeah, my live streams, they're fun. I really enjoy doing the live streams for the guys. It does get sometimes frustrating because I don't have a lot of time for myself for doing things because of all the sites I run and all of the live streams and stuff I do. So I try to squeeze my stuff in, but we're always trying to give back to our community that's with us because of how much they give. Because like I always say, without those guys, there's no Hobby Link International. I would be sitting here on a live stream just talking to myself. So that's why it's never about me. It's always about these guys.
No, it's super cool. And oh, I just had it. I hate that.
All right, what was Josh thinking?
I wish I felt better.
I wish you felt better too. Are you talking about like all the stuff I do, like with the borders around me and stuff like that?
Yeah, like that's
if
all
you're
OBS?
No, if you're into stuff like that, like a lot of times I'm not tech savvy with drawing and stuff like that, but I have a good friend, Whitney Kay. She's actually an artist and does stuff. And I was talking to her recently about it, and she was like, "Oh man, your thumbnails are nice. Your video production is nice with your frames and the pumpkins rolling around for Halloween and stuff." She's like, "Do you do all that on your own?" I was like, "If I did that on my own, I'd be a millionaire because I would just be selling that stuff." If you're interested in doing stuff like that, where you have nice borders, there's a bunch of sites out there, but I usually go to owned.tv, I think it is, and it's OWN, but it's the number 3ND, so it's own3d.tv, and you can just buy the overlays that you want to use. So I just looked for the Halloween one I wanted to find, and I actually bought one from Owned, and then I found another overlay. If you use Streamlabs OBS, they have overlays like that. So you get those overlays and then you set them up in either OBS or Streamlab OBS. You sit there, you set up your scene, and you have all that stuff. You add your music in, whatever you want. There's another one for music. I use Epidemic Sound for the music. Own 3D TV for all the nice stuff on the screen. So I try to make it visually appealing too, instead of just having, just a lot of blank stuff on there. I try to get ones that have motion in it, You know, with nice transitions, anything that's pleasing to the guys, so they don't have to look at my ugly mug too much.
And where did the logo come from?
The logo. All right. Hobby Link International, our original logo was just Hobby Link International with a globe on it. And my brother, he loves chinchillas and he has chinchillas. So we decided that, and if anybody wants to know, our logo of our chinchilla is a girl because it was made after his gray chinchilla, and we named this one Chippy. And then we had the globe put behind it and the Hobby Link International. And serving the world of modelers has been our logo since our tagline basically since we've started Hobby Link International. But again, I don't draw. The logo that you see up in the corner and behind me over here, that again, if you need anything like that, a great site to go to is fiverr.com, fiverr.com, and you can have logos made up. If you go with a high-end guy, you're going to end up paying a lot of money for it. Or if you like this one here, I think only cost me $50 for the guy to draw all this up and get it over to me. But I did have another. We have another logo with Chippy for the HLI FX portion of the company, and he's holding one of our little boards. Actually, he's holding, or she's, I should say, holding our first ever HLI FX 001 board. And my friend Whitney Kay, the artist that I was talking about before, she redid the logo for us, and she did a great job on it.
So that, yeah, I mean, it's really unique picture, and it all works because of the colors. I think, was that all planned, or you just kind of wing it?
Well, the colors for Hobby Link International have always been black, gray, blue, and white. That was our original logo. And then so Chippy, luckily Chippy is a gray chinchilla, so the gray worked out as part of our logo and stuff like that. And the globe, the green the guy picked was nice for, and the water and all that other stuff. So it all matched up really well, and it kind of pops. The only bad thing about it is he's not smoking a hash pipe over there, everybody. She's got an airbrush in her hand, because at first when the guy did the logo, it did look like she was doing something she wasn't supposed to be. So I was like, listen, draw a hose on the airbrush and make it go off to the side. This way, at least the airbrush hose is in there. So yeah, that's the colors. The colors were our original colors, and they just were added in, except for the green, of course, the world, you know, all that good stuff.
So when you're doing your reviews, what's the coolest kit you've reviewed that you really liked after you reviewed it?
I'm trying to think the coolest kit that I've done a review on. Well, the coolest kit that I will do a review on is sitting behind me, the Titanic. I haven't reviewed that yet.
Is that the new one?
That is the 200. If you can see it, that's the 200.
That's the one that came out like a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, that's the 4.5 foot long Titanic. I still got to do a review on that. I enjoyed doing the review on the Star Trek big ships, the 1/350 scale. Those are really nice kits. The Grissom was really nice to do that one too. They did round 2 did a very nice job on the Grissom. I know a lot of people. Chippy totally burns down. Sorry, caught Joe's comment. You know, Bandai kits are awesome. So it's really hard to pick one out, but one that I really want to do and do it upright is this Titanic one behind me. Because a lot of times with reviews, our unboxings, out of box reviews, whatever you want to call them, a lot of times me and a lot of the guys that do the review, we're just pulling it out and looking at what the parts are, you know, to make sure they're clean, or if something's like got a lot of flash or gouges, or like one of the horrible ones I did, then this is a horrible one. The AMT 57 Chevy, the big one, I think it's 1/16 scale. It had dirt in the package, and I think Spence had the same problem with his. It literally had dirt on all the parts. It was greasy and stuff. So that was a kit that I did not enjoy reviewing. I do enjoy reviewing the green strawberry photo etch and stuff like that, because that's enhancing a kit, and you get to see how they made all the little greeblies and all the add-ons that are going to make the kit really, really pop out. So those are always fun to do. And the big one I have to do and get it finished is I'm lucky enough to have companies contact me. Why they do, I don't know, but I do get contacted by companies. If you guys 3D print and know Cheeto Box, Cheeto has their own resin out. And while I'm on kind of vacation next week for Thanksgiving Day, they sent me over 2 bottles of resin. So I'm going to be printing stuff up and reviewing their resins. And a weird one was I just got an offer from a tool company, like a real tool company with big tools. I was like, dude, I can't use those for anything I'm doing on a small model. It's a drill bit like this through a model. That's not going to be cool. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but I appreciate it. And I'm kind of blessed that these companies do come to me and ask me to do things for them. Like Green Strawberry came to me to do stuff. Who else has sent me stuff? Cheeto sent me stuff. We got Cat 4. So I get stuff in. Oh, back in the day, Ammo by Mig sent me stuff. So we get some good stuff in. Paul gets stuff from Verifier. That's my partner in the business, Paul Tosny. If you ever catch him on the channel, he does all like the ships and stuff. He's a retired Royal Air Force veteran, so he knows a lot about ships and planes. So all that stuff gets shipped up to Canada, and he does those. And he does better reviews than I do. He actually gives you history on the ships because those are more historical than the stuff we have, sci-fi wise. So he gives you history and really goes over the reviews very well. So thumbs up to Paul.
No, and it's super cool that you have that small little group that does that all together, right? Helpful too, because then you can feedback, right?
Exactly. It's nice to have a team of guys doing stuff with us on the site. Like I said, we got my brother Tommy. Me and Tommy actually started the whole thing out with Models and Scale before we were Hobby Link International. And then Paul jumped on board not too long after that when we became Hobby Link International. So he's been with us since almost the beginning. And now we got Spence. It's nice to have people on board that help out. I don't know if guys know Gadgetron 3000. He's in the sci-fi half of the community. He does articles on the site for me. Mark Fraley, he sometimes jumps in with articles on the site. And that's what we're going to be looking for in January. I'm going to try to thin out my load a little bit so I can do more YouTube stuff and have more people on the main site that can do the articles for me, write them up, especially when we start getting in. Like Halloween's nuts. When Halloween comes, we have a year to build, but all the builds seem to come in 2 weeks before Halloween, and I'm stressing out for that group build because I take everybody's picture, I resize them so everybody has a quality picture during the live stream. They're all the same size, so nobody has a teeny picture, nobody's got a big picture. I got to do that, and then I got to put the articles on the site. I got to do a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm going to be looking to see, if anybody wants to help out running that portion of the site. So it's fun. Oh, I just caught Joe's thing. It's really is one of the best modeling communities, HLI. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate that. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a true comment because I mean
Thank you very much, Josh.
You have one of the better communities.
Yeah, we work hard to we work hard to make it a fun community. It's not always fun because one, we're fighting bots all the time. I don't know how they get through, but I'm constantly getting rid of bots. For the most part, it's fun. Everybody's having a good time. I guess it's not as much fun for us that are working on it because it becomes work. The old saying, when your hobby becomes work, it's you lose a little bit of that luster. But we try to make it as much fun as we can for the guys, where they're relaxed and they don't have to do anything but build models, put them on the form, chit chat with each other. So yeah, we got a great crew, and everybody's welcome to come over.
No, and yeah, that's that, and you can tell that by the videos and stuff and all the interaction in the chat because you don't just get the car guys, you get the car guys, sci-fi, figures. Like, yeah. I mean, you have everything in your community.
Yeah, that's why we went back to Hobby Link, because we wanted to link everything up. Like I said, if I see something like Gil, when Gil's painting something, it's like, you know what? I want to try that. That is really cool. And I'm just getting into figures, even though I love figures the most. Or you see a guy like Pappy, Fred Henry, do a car, or Jeff do a car, somebody like that. and you're like, okay, let me try that. They did something cool. So we want to try to incorporate that. Or you got the other ones too. You got Ben and Joe with their always building together in their series. So a lot of these guys are inspiring, and you don't get that. And I'll revert back to what I was saying before, was you don't get that on social media, because social media is just a wall that just flies by you. And once that cool kit is gone, you're never going to find it again. At least on our form, it's there all the time. You can see it. Or even the guys with videos on YouTube, at least you can go back and watch those. Regular social media like Twitter and Facebook, I'm kind of done with those. I use them to keep in contact with you guys and post up news, but it's not my favorite place to be anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm not on Twitter, but Facebook, yeah, if it wasn't for the hobby, I don't know if I'd be on Facebook anymore.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree.
But so tools for the hobby. What's some of your favorite tools that you've been using?
The new favorite tool, if you can count it as a tool, is my 3D printer.
Okay, go on to something else.
I'll tell you the tools that I like. One I just got, the Mr. Hobby G tool. It kind of looks like a toothbrush, and it basically is a toothbrush, but it's a round head sander. Now, if I remember correctly, a toothbrush vibrates a different way than the G tool does. The G tool is more oscillating, like an oscillating sander, so it really does that well. My favorite tools are definitely my airbrushes, my Badger airbrushes. Without them, I'm lost. Those do a lot of work for me. I'm trying to think of any other tools. I don't have any big major tools. I kind of go the simple route with cutters, X-Acto knives, my cutting mat. I'm trying to think of other tools that I use. A tool that I need, and if Kelly's watching this, my wife, everybody knows Kelly. A tool that I need personally is glasses. I haven't got glasses in a while. It's getting harder and harder for me to see. I'm trying to think of other tools that I have. Oh, Dremel, of course, Dremel's a good one. But that's it. Yeah, I'm very basic on my tools. I don't think you need a lot of heavy duty, expensive tools to do the hobby. I think a lot of the big manufacturers like to push their tools and make it seem like, oh my God, without this tool, I can't do this. But the one thing I've noticed in the time I've been in this hobby, the whole time, model builders are very ingenious as to making their own tools, coming up with their own ways to do things instead of going by that, that $100 freaking whatever PE bender or something. They'll come up with a way, to do it for $10 instead. But yeah, I'm very basic on my tools.
No, I mean that's pretty cool, because I mean I know, with me being on a budget, I don't shop in the hobby section.
No.
Well, I understand that.
A great section to shop in, though, is the ladies aisle in any like Walgreens or CVS or pharmacies or anything like that. Like, if you look at tools like for weathering, those little brushers that they use, those are just ladies' eye brushes that they use, and you could pick those up like $100 for a couple bucks. They're sponges that down the ladies' makeup aisle. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they use that's so much cheaper because it's not labeled for the hobby.
Well, yeah, because if it was in the hobby section, you'd get like 5 of them for like 3 times the price.
Exactly.
Right?
No doubt about that at all.
But yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It's what I do too. Like, the wife gets to go buy a new hair dryer here in the next couple weeks, because I burnt mine up.
That's another favorite tool. I got my little hair dryer that was it's like a Revlon hair dryer for $10 instead of a heat gun. It dries my acrylic paints quick enough where I could do the next layer, and then once I'm done, set it on the side and let it dry up. But yeah, that's it. That's another good tool, a hair dryer.
Yeah, right. So you talked about paint. What paint line are you using?
I used to be strictly Tamiya, 100% Tamiya, and that is still my go-to paint. I think they're the tops. Mr. Hobby's very good. But what I've been branching out. I got scale 75 paints, and when I first used scale 75 paints, I was so frustrated with them because they are a thick gel medium acrylic. So it's not like AK or ammo where you could just drop them in the pot and spray. You really have to thin them down. I do about 50% distilled water. I never use tap water, never ever, because New Jersey water is horrible, and that stuff is so hard it'll ruin the paint. So I have a bottle of distilled water underneath. I do it 50-50. But I'm really loving Scale 75 now, especially how flat they dry. They're a really, really nice paint. Most of them are very tough paints, and you actually have trouble taking them off with super clean, or even if they're hardly dry with water, it really sticks and the pigments are really good. The only one I find that I have problem with that chips for some reason is the black. I don't know why, but I use Scale 75. I use Ammo by MIG. I do have some AK now that I'm going to be testing out, and I have a whole drawer full of Tamiya, Model Air, Game Air. So I run the gamut of paints, but my go-tos definitely are Tamiya for colors.
And why is that?
They airbrush very well. They're easy to thin. They're solid as a rock once they're on there, and you can mix the paints pretty well to get your own custom colors. And they've just been around so long, and they're made so well. They don't really stink that bad. I kind of like the smell of the Tamiya paints, but they're and you got to remember, they're not a true acrylic. They're a lacquer based acrylic, so that may be the reason why they flow so well. But yeah, it's just an incredible paint out of the airbrush, and they really make your model pop. So I kind of stick with those, but I do like which Batgirl back there, or even Mickey Mouse that we'll bring up a little later. There's a few different paints on him. There's Tamiya, the Scale 75. There's Ammo. There is Model Air on him. Vallejo's on him. So I do mix and match paints because some paint colors are better than others, even though they say they're the same paints. It's just a personal preference for everybody. So whatever you like. The only paint that I really have trouble with is the original Vallejo colors. They're great for hand painting, but I cannot thin those things down to save my life to airbrush with them. But they have beautiful colors, so it's just all up to the user. Everybody has their preferences.
Yeah, I mean it's and you have a bunch of different paint lines, so you'll kind of understand this. But like each paint line has their own little unique technique that you have to use.
Absolutely they do.
Like them to work.
Like Ammo, I don't have to thin Ammo down. A lot of people don't like Ammo by MIG. I have no problem with Ammo. I dump it into the pot. I put a couple drops of Vallejo Flow Improver in there, and off to the races I go with Ammo. I haven't used AK much. I just got some in for German uniforms as a gift from a good friend. So I'm going to test those out. I'm going to have to get out a 1/35 scale figure and play with those a little bit. But seeing as though Ammo and AK used to be one company until those two fought and they split into their own separate companies, it's pretty much the same paint. Another good paint that people don't really talk about or use, if you're a miniature painter, you'll know about them, but Andrea Miniatures makes their own paints, and they have really nice sets and really, really good colors, especially if you're looking for a red set. Their red set is really nice. So there's a little tip on the another brand you guys can go and spend your money on.
Yeah. Like there's not another paint line that
right? That's true.
Very true. So you got into 3D printing.
Yes.
Do you have resin or PLA?
I started out with PLA through my brother, and that's a long time ago. I had an XYZ printer, and he gave that to me to test out. And then I didn't print for a long time. And then unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, Omar and Schumann's model shop that's in here, they're the devil when it comes to 3D printing. They drug me into 3D printing. We have our own Discord too, but we'll talk about that later. We're all on Discord together, and they kept posting their machines and their prints and everything like that. It just drug me right into the 3D arena. And I have an Anycubic Mono X, which if anybody's looking to get into 3D printing, great printer, and they're on sale right now at just a ridiculously cheap price. So if you really want to get into it and you want to start, that's a great printer to start with. And my love, we were talking about this before the show a little bit. My love has always been figures, but I am a horrible, horrible figure painter. I'm getting a little better. But now with the 3D printing, I've been printing up so many figures. I really, it's sad to say, but 3D printing is pushing me away from this whole wall of kits that I have here. I have probably over 100 model kits sitting right next to me. And when I look at them, it's like, yeah, I'll get to those. But when I look at the printer, it's like, what am I going to print next? What am I going to, So 3D printing has become an addiction. It ends up being as expensive as the hobby of model building because you got to buy, your cleaners, you got to buy your resin, you got to buy the prints. So anybody that's really saying it's cheaper, it's not that much cheaper than what we're doing with the models. But it's a great new dimension to the hobby. So anybody that's fighting 3D printing like I did for a little while, don't fight it. If you're interested in it, get yourself a small printer if you want, or a Mono X, and you will have a blast.
So like the perfect example is I have a Creality CR10 and I have the Photon or the first one.
Nice.
Because I was able to pick it up hella cheap, right?
Yep.
Black Friday deals. They're coming up.
Exactly.
You can't go wrong. So now I don't don't get me wrong. I don't mind Warhammer stuff.
Nice.
I don't mind Warhammer stuff, right? But when you print out, I want to print it out a little bigger. We'll see. And then I'm using both printers to print out like Magneto.
Oh, that's cool.
So the bottom half is PLA, top half is resin.
Sweet.
Because this was all one piece, so I couldn't put it in the resin printer.
Yeah.
It just wasn't big enough, right?
Exactly. And I don't know how to slice things up and make them look nice. That I'll destroy. So I'm actually, again, my friend Omar and Shu in here both got new printers. I'm looking at the new big Max 3 or something like that. It's a huge printer with a big bed, just because of the figures. I mean, it's like that. The legs are in one piece. I don't know if my Mono X could even do that height on them. And I want to be able to do the whole thing. Like I got this really cool Gremlins file, but the Mono X can't handle it. So I got to get something bigger because I don't want it chopped into a million pieces. And the word Gremlins is chopped. And then you got to try to fix that. I'd rather do it all in one nice piece and just do my thing.
Yeah, it's crazy once you kind of jump into the 3D printing, how much more stuff you got to learn.
It's incredible. Here, I'll grab. Hold on. Let's see. This one, most people have seen. This is, hopefully I don't break her. This is Batgirl. She's 3D printed up. Got this print off of CG Trader. She's actually painted with Tamiya. She does have some Vallejo on there, or Vallejo, and Ammo by Mig. But this is incredible. What you wouldn't get this in a model shop. So we'll just try to spin her around. We'll leave her over here, and then I'll show you. We just had our Halloween group build, and here's another one, and he's multi paints too. This is Mickey Mouse's Jason Voorhees. So you're gonna find a ton of things that you can't get in model shops or anywhere else. And you get something cool like this. Like him, he has 2 more files. Donald Duck as Freddy Krueger and Goofy as Leatherface. And one more thing I'll show you that we 3D printed up is I got the Crypt Keeper. So this guy right here, the whole community voted, and he won first place. Actually, Bob Bruce is in here. He got second, and Spence got third. But we 3D printed up the Crypt Keeper. And I got some cool paints, folk art paints, which I was really never a Hobby Lobby kind of, cheap paints on the shelf kind of guy. But these are really, really nice. 3D printed them up. We made our own trophies, and the guys loved them. I was surprised that they would really like them, but they loved them. So 3D printing has definitely been something cool and advantageous to Hobby Link International. Look at me big on the screen with my hair sticking out of my hat.
So I mean, it's super cool how much that thing is, and now you're starting to see like car guys print
Hmm.
out a bunch of stuff.
I
Like,
forgot who it was. There's somebody out there like designing a whole car, and I was watching him. I was like, holy cow, look at that. He drew it all in whatever he drew it, ZBrush or whatever, and then was printing out the parts. It's amazing what the car guys are doing. Rims, air cleaners, engines, oil pan, you name it, they're doing it.
yeah, like Miguel was on last week, and yeah, it's crazy all the stuff that he's able to do now. How far do you think we are from actually being? Because you've ran a resin printer,
Hmm.
like that actually being the way, like you're gonna start seeing STL files instead of like going to get a kit.
I don't think you're gonna ever see a full like Tamiya go all the way over to files just because of the thievery that goes on. They will lose a ton of money. You know, these poor guys like it was I think it was Batgirl. For some reason I was trying to Google pictures of this 3D print and I found her ripped off and being sold on Etsy. So I don't think Tamiya and these companies are going to go fully STL because there's no way to really safeguard them from sending anything to somebody else. What I think we're going to see though is more 3D parts in kits, 3D printed parts instead of injected molded parts. So they may make their own 3D printed kit that you'll be able to get. I know some aftermarket parts stuff that I was just showing the other day on my live stream. Some of it was resin, but the hubcaps for the BF 109 F-2's wheels, the hubs inside were actually 3D printed. So I think we're going to see more of that than actually Tamiya say, here's your STL file because they know they're going to lose cash.
No, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. Do you see the question on the screen?
Uh-oh. Where's the you guys need to 3D print the Oscar statue and use it as a trophy. Ah, that's a good idea, Terry. Terry, they have that on CG Trader, and I was thinking about that. But what I'm going to do, and some of the guys that are here on my live stream know, um, I've been looking for stuff to 3D print for the trophy. I'm going to pick out 3 things, and then I don't decide on it. I'm going to have the 3 things up, and we run a poll on the live stream, and the members of Hobby Link International are actually going to pick which one. Speaking of, if you don't mind me going off on a little bit of a little side on that note, pretty much, we do on the YouTube channel for subscribers, because we're always talking about the community. We're always trying to give back to you guys for being there and stuff like that. And I don't know if you know, Josh, like every month from January to November, we run a giveaway the last Saturday of every month for our subscribers. And it's subscriber only. So when it's time to give stuff away, I change the chat to subscriber only. And then we give away gifts to you guys. The only time, and that's just to say thank you. And I thank the guys in the community because you should see all the freaking models they give me to give away. The only time we don't do it is December. That is a community giveaway because it's Christmas time, and me and my family, Kelly, Kenny, Elaine, the puppies, we're all huge Christmas fans, and that's the time of year we like to give back. And there's a guy in here, Mr. Schumann's Model Shop. That's another Santa Claus. I always call him Santa Claus too, because we did it one year and he jumped in the next year. And I keep thinking it's 6 or 7 years that he's been on board. So the community is just incredible. And that's why we do what we do, to try to give back at least once a month to everybody.
So Spencer's kind of right on the comment on the screen. Now, this is the kit that I will use as the example. The Kylo Ren Star Wars ship that came out a couple weeks ago, where the wings go out like this. There's parts in that kit that you can see the PLA.
Oh, look at that!
Illustrations in it. That's how I found that out.
Yeah, so they probably will start doing that.
It's definitely the future, right?
Yeah. Like I said, maybe they'll just box up a 3D printed kit and send it your way. Might end up being cheaper for them than all those big injected molded things. I'm they might come up with a huge industrial 3D printer where it just all day long making parts.
Right? Yeah. No, it's crazy when you start like figuring out some of this stuff that it's coming in the future. And unfortunately, the hobby's not getting any cheaper, right?
No. But I always, like somebody today said something about the AMT Mandalorian Razor Crest. They said, oh, $71. I'm not going to buy that. I never get on board with the kit price is too darn high theory, because there's just too much that goes into a kit. And then you got to remember there's inflation out there. So there's just too much. Like $71 for that Razor Crest, a new tool. I don't find that bad. And it's a hobby. My biggest gripe is it's a hobby. If you're spending your lunch money or your child support money on the hobby, you have bigger problems than that kit being $71.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very staunch on some of the gripes in the community. You know, it's like sometimes we complain about the wrong things when we should be complaining, why the heck are you making another Spitfire when you could come out with something new?
Yeah, I mean, that's a different topic for another day, right? Because
Yep.
that could be an hour and a half just on
that,
right? How many different 57 Chevys do we need? Can we get like an 87 Corolla?
Can they make a 76 Malibu Classic, my favorite car?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Hey, you never know. Now with 3D printing, maybe one day somebody will draw up that 76 Malibu Classic, and I'll be able to build my my favorite car.
Looks like Omar found you.
Hey, what's going on, Omar? There's the bad influence. He's the bad influence.
Yeah, actually, I have met Omar. He came on the podcast with me, Gordon, and Mark.
Okay.
So I've gotten to talk to Omar. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, Omar's awesome.
He's a pretty cool guy. No, it's super crazy that the direction the hobby's going. Where do you see the hobby going?
Well, it's sad to say, I don't think the hobby's going anywhere ever. It's just going to evolve like it did. It's funny because that you asked me this question. We had I used to have my own magazine, Model Builder International, but it got pirated. We lost it. We lost all, a whole bunch of stuff has happened to me in this hobby. But in that magazine, I don't know if you know the company Bravo 6. He makes Vietnam figures in 1/35 scale. He's an awesome sculptor. But I talked to him and I asked him pretty much the same question. Do you see the hobby pretty much dying, or where's it going? And he's like, the hobby's never going to die. He's like, look at how it started out. People taking little rocks and chiseling them, making little figurines out of them. Then they moved over to wood, sculpting little bolts out of wood, and then wooden planes, and then plastic kits and resin. And now it's just going to 3D. I think eventually, for the younger generation, I think kits will stick around for us for a while, but kits will eventually die out. And I think stuff like this, like the comic book stuff that the kids are into and stuff like that, that's going to where the hobby's going to go. I think it's going to go over to 3D printing, and it's not going to be your Spitfires or your Tiger tanks or your Shermans anymore, because those kids, the younger generation's not interested in what we grew up with. It's not that as hobbyists we love war. We love the mechanics of that tank, or the look of that tank or plane or Jeep or a soldier's uniform. It's not that we're glorifying war. We're just very interested in the techniques of building that tank and how it looks. But the kids these days, they're not into that. They're going to build, something from a video game they played as a kid. They're going to build Red Dead Redemption, John Marston, or something from, what do they play now these days? I'm trying to think what the kid plays, Fortnite or something like that. So I think eventually you will see military models as not as popular as they are for our generation.
The thing that I will add to that is like Warhammer.
Yes.
That's where the younger generation is at, because there's a social aspect to it.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And they're into the Gundam too and stuff like that. So it's definitely pushing away from what we knew as modeling.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad, because they're keeping it alive. It's not going to die. It's just it's going to be something new and exciting for them. Like it was exciting for us, sniffing the glue as a kid when we shouldn't have been.
Yeah, now you have those Gundam pins, paint pins.
Yes.
Like I have allergies like probably 10, 11 months out of the year, so I can't smell anything, but you pop one of those pins and I'm instantly high. You know what I mean?
Don't
Like
got to go to the guy on the corner anymore. Just go buy a Gundam pen.
right? Oh my gosh.
Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah, it's always something, but it's gonna keep evolving. The hobby itself won't die. Maybe they'll call it something other than model building. It'll just be 3D printing. But for a generation, they'll have some other way to do what we do, and it'll be pretty cool, and they'll be excited, which is awesome.
Well, I mean, even the like movie industry now is going back to model making a little
Yep.
bit. Like Mandalorian,
Mm-hmm.
they're going back to actual filming models
Yeah, physical
instead of
models.
CGI and everything. So it's
That
interesting to see.
It's interesting you say that because I got this guy right here, the Revell 1/72 scale Mandalorian Razor Crest, and I'm going to be doing a review on this one. And last night I started looking for, doing my research on it, and I came across the ILM pictures of the physical model of this guy, so I can incorporate a few of those into the review. But yeah, it's nice to see that they're going back to physical models. I find that really, really cool.
Yeah, I watched Tested for the video that Adam
Mhm.
Savage did with the guy that made that. Yeah,
Yes,
it's super cool.
it's really cool. And it's funny though, like my friend Dana, she actually worked in Newton. She didn't work with ILM, but she knew ILM people and stuff. And one funny thing, and she showed me pictures of it too. Like as modelers, we're like, oh, we got to make it screen accurate and this and that. By God, if you've seen how they slop the paint on these props because they knew they're going to be filming it from further away, so you're not going to see how grainy the paint is on there and how bad the weathering is on there. It's totally different than what we see up on the screen. They're just there to get them done, get them on screen, get it edited. So if we really wanted to make it like the studio model, they wouldn't look as good as we try to make them.
Right? Right. Well, and I'm going to say like clear coats, right? On the modeling ships, if you look at them, they might come off glossy, but they are not.
No, not at all. And it's funny because one of the pictures I found last night of the Razor Crest from ILM, you should see the glass on this thing. It is foggy and smudged and everything. Meanwhile, we're going to try to put crystal clear glass in this thing. They take it all care of all that in post-production.
Yeah, right. So anyway, Kenny, we've gotten to the hour mark. Did you have any questions for me?
Trying to think. Let's see. What can we ask Josh? Josh, I see you build different things, but what is your favorite subject to build?
So it's gonna be sci-fi. I've got. Do you remember the Star Wars kits from like Return of the Jedi and stuff?
Yes.
The planetary thing. I have like 10 of those. I have the Star Trek Next Generation.
Yep.
I have 2 of the Voyagers. I've got the Deep Space Nine space station.
Oh, that's sweet.
I've got the Defiant. And then after that, it's like the next big thing for me is like the Warhammer stuff.
I never got into that. I got to try some of that.
Well, see, you having a printer, go on, what is it, Cults TV, Cults 3D, something like that.
Okay, Cults 3D, yeah.
And that's where I found these.
Oh, cool.
So, like, and you can blow them up to however. I mean, I made this one super big, right?
Nice.
And that it just prints out one file. I mean, there's 4 or 5 different free ones, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And you just, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind painting little stuff, but
my eyes like the bigger stuff.
right. And I'll still paint these. Don't get me wrong. I just,
Exactly. So that you brought up the 3D prints and stuff, I'll ask you another question. Since Omar and Shu got me into 3D printing like it's crack, how addicted are you to the 3D printing?
Oh my gosh. So I saw 3D printing what 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and I was like, and it was just PLA then. There was no resin,
Hmm.
and the stuff that I get to print out, like, I mean, oh, come here, you.
Oh,
Like
that's
the
nice and
Predator.
big.
This is all PLA,
That's huge.
right? And that's the negative about PLA. If you want PLA to look nice, you have to print it out big.
Okay.
That way it all looks smooth, right?
Yeah.
But resin, you can print out. And I've kind of had to learn this the hard way.
We all
Resin
do.
will look good. Resin will look good at this size,
Mm-hmm.
this size, and the size of the Predator. It'll all look the same.
Yes.
And that's the big difference.
The resin is beautiful. The resin really is beautiful. I was telling Omar and the guys, though, with resin, it's got to be my settings, but I've been having trouble with gray resin. I haven't been able to get it print well, but clear resin, everything comes out great. So I'm just been printing everything in clear now. But the other good thing with clear is when I throw it on the washing cure and I put the UV light through it, it's penetrating the whole model. So I don't have to worry about that inside not being cured before I do any of these models.
So I got this from a different guy. He does it for like a business, 3D print stuff. And he said the longer exposure time, the better the print will be.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's Xanax Predator from like a long time ago, Omar.
Xanax Predator. That Predator is gigantic. Now, if anybody doesn't know Omar, Omar's I'll throw Omar the plug too. He's way into 3D printing. And if you pop over at the site on the community, you'll see like the Superman he's doing now is just ridiculous. He builds them. I mean, he prints them super great, and he paints them even better than they print out. So, damn you, Omar.
Well, I mean, it's that carrot, right? They just dangle that carrot out there, and it's like, what the hell?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
but I mean, the 3D printed stuff. I mean, it's
to
for
me,
me,
it's a
it's
godsend.
the cost, and I found it's Sunlu, SUNLU.
Okay.
You can buy a full liter for like $22.
My buddy at work was just telling me he 3D prints too, and he was just telling me he's been using it and he has actually good prints with the stuff. So I may have to try it out. Let the resin flow through you.
It's. I will say this: I started with the Anycubic stuff, and it's good. And that I thought had a bad smell to it, but the Sunlu stuff is way worse.
Oh boy. See, yeah, the gray Anycubic definitely has an odor to it. The clear isn't as bad for some reason. I haven't opened up the Cheeto resin yet. I'm waiting to see if that kicks me in the face when I open it up, because they have two that they gave me. One is called Rigid, and that one is more for like, I guess, making prototypes of stuff like nuts and bolts. And then they gave me the one that I'm gonna test. It's called Contour, and that one's made specifically supposed to make figures look better. So we're gonna find out how it looks.
I'll definitely be watching that video. That's for sure. Because
that should be out probably Thanksgiving weekend, because I'll be printing up stuff during the week with it and then edit the video and all that other good stuff.
And it's crazy when you start like figuring out the settings, because like for the first 6 months I would get this to print out, and then the next one I'd go to get print out would print like half of it.
Oh geez.
And then the next print after that, like the supports would print, but none of the figure.
Oh geez.
And then the next print would be totally fine. It's like, you mother.
It's all a learning curve. Actually, I got the clear resin to print. I didn't use my own settings. I actually went to Anycubic site and they have their settings, and I used the specific settings that they said to use for their clear resin. And I haven't had a problem with any failed prints, nothing sticking to the FEP or anything like that. So, and like Shu said, we've all been there with missing prints and stuff. I was getting very frustrated at the beginning, but thankfully for Shu and Omar answering my questions over and over and over again, I thank you guys for doing that.
No, I mean, it's crazy. And then like if like on the Anacubic bottle, if you flip the label around, it says all the settings on the bottle too.
Yeah,
I was like I never. It took someone on internet or YouTube to show it. I was like, "Are you serious?" And then I had to go look at the bottle. I was like, "Mother."
All sorts of good information on the YouTubes.
Right?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Unfortunately, YouTube is the new encyclopedia. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you need the answer to something or how to fix it. It's
the only thing I got to do with YouTube is get myself a couple external drives. I want to download all my videos because I don't keep them on the computer, just in case, God forbid, something. Because I've been hacked once already on YouTube, and thankfully they didn't take my channel down. And I would have lost all my videos of my kid and myself and all that other stuff. So I got to get some externals and make sure I download, because you never know. One day YouTube may say, "Hey, or a better competitor comes out and everybody flocks to them, and that's the end of YouTube." So I just want to make sure I have all my basically YouTube is memories for me.
I don't see YouTube going away unless like Google decides to like sell it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But one day I won't be doing this anymore. You know, I'll be older, and I just want to make sure we got everything. Don't want to lose anything.
Right. Do you got any other questions for me?
No, we're good. I'm sorry we didn't do this a lot longer ago, because this was fun. You know, unfortunately, my life is very, very busy between work, and then we bought the house and overtime a lot of the time, and now puppies and the sites and everything. I'm sorry I pushed you off for so long, but this was a lot of fun, Josh.
Well, I mean, like you have people that you definitely want to get on, right?
Yep.
So you have to like, and I don't mean this like to you personally.
No,
right?
I know.
But you have to throw that jab out there to let them know you're interested. Having you on. And then you have to poke them, because you know what I mean? And then you have to come in with the right cross and be like, "Are you going to do this or not?" You know what I mean? Like you're not trying to be.
Well, you finally got me with the combo.
You know what I mean? It's like,
oh goodness gracious!
And then you know, you do the Muhammad Ali thing. You run around the, you know, do other things, and then you come back and just straight knock him out. And then
drag him by the hair and sit him in a chair.
Right.
But no, this was definitely a lot of fun. So I'm glad I finally was able to make it on and hang out with you for about an hour or so.
All right. So thank you for coming on. I will talk to you in a couple minutes. I'm going to do the exit and okay. But thank you for coming on. I'm glad we were able to make this work today.
And thank you for everybody that stopped by to watch us chat. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
yep, that was me. That was me, big me.
All right, everybody. So that was Kenny. And Kenny has a super cool Facebook community, YouTube channel. Hopefully you guys learned as much as I did today. So here's my pitch. On StreamYard now, there's going to be a link in the description for you to check out StreamYard. If you guys end up using it, or you sign up for it, or it kind of helps my channel out, and it helps you out too, because you get a certain something like $10 or something. But go ahead and check it out. I will see you guys next week. I don't remember who's going to be on next week, but I will put the notification up Wednesday or so next week of who's going to be on. But I will see you guys next time.